Hey, Will, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on? Not a lot.
Man, I don't, you know what? Now that I see you right here, I don't think I've seen you in probably like 6 weeks. Where you been
Yeah,
hiding?
I don't know. Long time no see, though. How
Yeah.
have you been?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. I don't, you know what? I haven't seen you since your wedding.
I know. I know. I wanna tell you all about it. I can't believe you didn't make it.
Yeah, I told you the only reason I didn't make it is because my uncle was getting married back east. So, I was gone the entire week, but I was super bummed about it.
Well, you missed a good one.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, I was bummed that I couldn't be there with all our friends, and I never had a chance to meet Isabel's family, so I'm really bummed that I missed that too.
Yeah, yeah. It was really nice having everybody out here from Spain,
Yeah.
and we had a good time.
How long were you and Isabel together before you guys got married?
2 years.
Wow, oh my God, time flies. I
Yeah.
I remember that, when she first answered the ad you had for a roommate. So you guys broke the golden rule, as far as roommates go, which is don't sleep with your roommates when they move in.
That's right.
But
But
it's
it
all
was
worked
worth it. It
out.
was worth it this time.
Yeah, it's all worked out. So I'm glad to see that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you have to give me some details. I haven't seen any of the pictures or anything. I don't maybe you didn't get them back yet from the photographer.
Well, I can't wait to show you the pictures, of course, but yeah, do you have a second? I'll tell you about the wedding.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I want to hear about it.
All right. Well, we had kind of a do-it-yourself wedding. We got married at City Hall, which was easy, and then we had our real ceremony at Stern Grove. You know
Oh
where that
yeah,
is?
yeah, yeah,
Here,
right on 19th.
here in San Francisco,
Yeah.
underneath the redwood trees.
Oh, it must have been beautiful.
It was very nice.
Did the weather cooperate?
Actually, we had a really beautiful day, which is very unusual for summertime in San Francisco,
Yeah,
as you well know.
totally.
We were planning on fog, but we had really nice weather.
Oh, that's great. So everyone made it in okay? Because I know that her family had a long way to come.
Yeah, they all made it. Her mom and dad, their friend, uh, her brother and sister, of course, and uh, her best friend from Spain came to represent all her friends. We're gonna go there soon, and we're gonna see her family and friends. Who couldn't make it, but it was nice to have a group of her family and friends here in San Francisco for the wedding.
Oh, that's great. Where is she from in Spain?
She's from Bilbao.
Oh, yeah, she told me that before, but I can't say that, I could recall the actual town because I'd never heard of it before.
Yeah, it's actually a very large city. It's an industrial city, and it's got a new museum, so it's become more famous. But it's been there a long time, and it's a big city, but it's not one of the most known cities in Spain, perhaps after
Yeah,
Madrid and Barcelona.
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, but they were all there, and her brother read a medieval Spanish love poem, and that was really nice. And parts of our wedding were in Spanish for the people, our friends here who speak Spanish, and also, for her friends and family from Spain. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. I know that you've been trying to learn a lot of Spanish lately.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Well, I learned a lot of Spanish when I was in Chile, but I'm learning a lot more with her now.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, because the only way you're going to really, you know, get more fluent in it is to use it pretty much every day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, I bet her father was happy to see that you made an honest woman of her.
I guess so.
I would
Yeah.
imagine that maybe her family pretty traditional and old-fashioned, or
No, actually, they're more um, uh, progressive in a way than Americans are. Americans actually, it seems, are more into the church wedding and everything, we had a um, we had a very European wedding. They're not as religious as people think. Americans are pretty religious.
That's true.
Yes. So they loved everything we did, and it was a really good time. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So I got to run.
Okay. Well, let's get together for drinks sometime soon. It's been too long.
Sounds good.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All
Ciao.
right. Bye.
Hi, this is Kristen Dodds.
And this is Joe Weiss, and we just wanted to let you know that this material is copyrighted in the year 2008 by Learn Real English LLC. www.learnrealenglish.com. Hi, welcome to the mini story lesson for the conversation, The Wedding. Let's get started with the story. Freddie the Fork and Sarah the Spoon live together in New York. Freddie and Sarah are getting married. Pretty much all of Sarah's friends came to the wedding, but her Aunt Patty didn't make it. 2 days before the wedding, Sarah's mother and father flew to New York from London. Their flight made it in on time. Sarah's father is old-fashioned. He did not want Sarah to live with Freddie before they got married. Freddie and Sarah did not have a lot of money, so they had a do-it-yourself wedding. Freddie and Sarah cooked all of the food, and Sarah's mother made the wedding dress. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it. Freddie and Sarah got married at the beach. They were worried it was going to rain, but the weather cooperated. After they got married, Sarah's father was happy because Freddie had made an honest woman of her. Okay, so that's our story. Now I will read the story again, and I will ask questions as I'm reading it. If you want, you can answer the questions out loud. If you need a little more time to answer the questions, then feel free to pause your player. And of course, if you just want to sit back and listen, that's okay also. Okay, now let's get started. Freddie the Fork and Sarah the Spoon live together in New York. Do Freddie the Fork and Sarah the Spoon live together in New York? Yes, they do. They live together in New York. What do Freddie the Fork and Sarah the Spoon do? Do they live together in New York or travel in Los Angeles? They live together in New York. Did Freddie the Fork and Sarah the Spoon travel in Los Angeles? No, they didn't travel in Los Angeles. Do they live together in New York? Yes, that's correct. They live together in New York. Who lives together in New York? Freddie the Fork and Sarah the Spoon. They live together in New York. Do Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie live together in New York? No, not Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Do Freddie the Fork and Sarah the Spoon live together in New York? Yes, they do. Freddie the Fork and Sarah the Spoon live together in New York. What is Freddie? Is he a spoon or a fork? A fork. Freddie is a fork. Freddie the Fork. What is Sarah? Is she a spoon or a fork? A spoon. Sarah the Spoon. Is Sarah a fork No, Sarah's not a fork. Is Freddie a fork? Yes, he is. Freddie is a fork. Freddie the fork. Where do Freddie the fork and Sarah the spoon live? Do they live in New York or Los Angeles? New York. They live together in New York. Do Freddie and Sarah live together? Yes, they do. They live together. Do Freddie the fork and Sarah the spoon live together in New York? Yes, that's correct. Freddie the fork and Sarah the spoon live together in New York. Freddie and Sarah are getting married. Are Freddie and Sarah getting married? Yes, they are. That's what they're doing. They're getting married. What are Freddie and Sarah doing? Well, they're getting married. Are they ordering a wedding present for Samantha or getting married? Getting married. They're getting married. Are they baking a cake? No, they're not baking a cake. They're getting married. Are they getting married? Yes, they are. Freddie and Sarah are getting married. Who is getting married? Are Brad and Angelina getting married? No, Brad and Angelina aren't getting married. Are Freddie and Sarah getting married? Yes, they are. Freddie and Sarah are getting married. Pretty much all of Sarah's friends came to the wedding. Did pretty much all of Sarah's friends come to the wedding? Yes, that's true. Pretty much all of Sarah's friends came to the wedding. Did only one of Sarah's friends come to the wedding? No, not just one, unless she only has one friend. Did almost all of Sarah's friends come to the wedding? Yes, that's correct. Pretty much all of Sarah's friends came to the wedding, which means almost all of Sarah's friends came to the wedding. Pretty much means almost. So if you say pretty much, it's the same as saying almost. What did almost all of Sarah's friends do? Did they buy her a camera to take pictures or come to her wedding? Come to her wedding. Pretty much all of her friends came to her wedding. Who came to the wedding? Pretty much all of Sarah's friends or Freddie's friends? Pretty much all of Sarah's friends, not Freddie's friends. Where did pretty much all of Sarah's friends come? Did they come to the library or the wedding? The wedding. They came to the wedding. Did almost all of Sarah's friends come to the wedding? Yes, that's true. Pretty much all of her friends came to the wedding, which is the same as saying almost all of her friends came to the wedding. But her Aunt Patty didn't make it. Did her Aunt Patty make it? Nope. No, she did not. Her Aunt Patty did not make it. Was her Aunt Patty able to make it? Nope. She was unable to make it. Was her Aunt Patty unable to be there? Yes, that's true. She didn't make it, which means that she was unable to be there. Who didn't make it? Sarah's Uncle Pedro or Sarah's Aunt Patty? Well, Sarah's Aunt Patty. Sarah's Aunt Patty didn't make it. Was Sarah's Aunt Patty able to be there? No, she wasn't. Her Aunt Patty didn't make it, so she was unable to be there. She was not able to be there. Was Sarah's Aunt Patty able to be at the wedding? Nope, she was not able to make it. She didn't make it. She didn't make it to the wedding. 2 days before the wedding, Sarah's mother and father flew to New York from London. Did Sarah's mother and father fly to New York from London 2 days before the wedding? Yes, they did. They flew to New York 2 days before the wedding, and they flew from London. What did Sarah's mother and father do? Did they fly to New York or drive to London? They flew to New York. Did Sarah's mother and father drive to London? No, they didn't drive to London. How did Sarah's mother and father get to New York? Did they take a train? No, they didn't take a train. Did they fly to New York? Yes, that's correct. They flew to New York. Who flew to New York 2 days before the wedding? Did Sarah's Aunt Patty fly to New York 2 days before the wedding? No, Sarah's Aunt Patty definitely did not fly to New York 2 days before the wedding because she couldn't make it. So she did not go to the wedding. Did Sarah's mother fly to New York 2 days before the wedding? Yes, she did. She flew to New York 2 days before the wedding. Did Sarah's father fly to New York 2 days before the wedding? Yes, that's true also. 2 days before the wedding, Sarah's mother and father flew to New York from London. When did Sarah's mother and father fly to New York? 2 days before the wedding. They flew to New York 2 days before the wedding. Did they fly to New York 1 week before the wedding or 2 days before the wedding? 2 days before the wedding. They flew to New York 2 days before the wedding. How many days before the wedding did they fly to New York? Was it 2 days or 7 days before the wedding? It was 2 days. 2 days before the wedding, Sarah's mother and father flew to New York. Where did they fly from? Did they fly from Paris? No, they didn't fly from Paris. Did they fly from London? Yes, that's correct. They flew from London. Did Sarah's mother and father fly to New York from London 2 days before the wedding? Yes, they did. 2 days before the wedding, Sarah's mother and father flew to New York from London. Their flight made it in on time. Did their flight make it in on time? Yes, it did. Their flight made it in on time. What made it in on time? Their flight. Their flight made it in on time. Did their flight arrive on time? Yes, it did. It arrived on time, or it made it in on time. These are both the same thing. When you say made it in, you're saying arrived. Did their boat or their plane arrive on time? Their plane. They flew to New York from London. They flew on an airplane. Whose flight arrived on time? Did Sarah's flight arrive on time? No, it wasn't Sarah's. Sarah lives in New York. She didn't have to fly to New York. Did Sarah's parents' flight arrive on time? Yes, it did. It was Sarah's parents' flight that arrived on time. Did Sarah's parents' flight arrive late? No, it didn't. It arrived on time, which means it did not arrive late. And it did not arrive early. It arrived on time. Sarah's father is old-fashioned. Is Sarah's father old-fashioned? Yes, he is. Sarah's father is old-fashioned. What is Sarah's father? Is he old or old-fashioned? He's old-fashioned. Sarah's father is old-fashioned. Does he have ideas that have not changed in a long time? Well, yes, he does. That's what old-fashioned means. Old-fashioned means that you have ideas that have not changed in a long time and that you still believe in those ideas and you don't think that they should change. So when we say he's old-fashioned, that is to say that he has ideas that have not changed in a long time. Does Sarah's father like things to change? No, he doesn't. He's old-fashioned. He likes things to remain the same. He likes things that are old ideas. Who is old-fashioned? Is Freddie old-fashioned? No, we're not talking about Freddie being old-fashioned. Is Sarah's father old-fashioned? Yes, that's correct. Sarah's father is old-fashioned. He did not want Sarah to live with Freddie before they got married. Did he want Sarah to live with Freddie before they got married? No, he did not. Remember, he's old-fashioned, and if you're old-fashioned, that probably means if you have a daughter, you do not want her to live with her boyfriend before they get married. What did he want? Did he want Sarah to not live with Freddie before they got married? Yes, that's correct. He wanted Sarah to not live with Freddie before they got married. He did not want them to live together before they got married. Who didn't want Sarah and Freddie to live together? Did Sarah's brother or Sarah's father? Sarah's father. Sarah's father did not want Sarah to live with Freddie before they got married. When did he not want them to live together? Well, he did not want them to live together before they got married. Did he want Sarah to live with Freddie before they got married? No, he did not. Remember, he is old-fashioned. Freddie and Sarah did not have a lot of money. Did Freddie and Sarah have a lot of money? No, they did not. They did not have a lot of money. What didn't Freddie and Sarah have? a lot of money. They didn't have a lot of money. Who didn't have a lot of money? Freddie and Sarah or Sarah's parents? Freddie and Sarah. Freddie and Sarah didn't have a lot of money. Were Freddie and Sarah rich? No, they were not. If they were rich, then they would have a lot of money. And they did not have a lot of money. So they had a do-it-yourself wedding. Did they have a do-it-yourself wedding? Yes, that's exactly what they did. They had a do-it-yourself wedding. What did they have? Did they have a baby or a do-it-yourself wedding? A do-it-yourself wedding. They had a do-it-yourself wedding. Who had a do-it-yourself wedding? Did Sarah's mother and father or Freddie and Sarah have a do-it-yourself wedding? Freddie and Sarah did. Freddie and Sarah had a do-it-yourself wedding. What type of wedding did they have? A do-it-yourself wedding. They had a do-it-yourself wedding. Did they pay people money to help with their wedding? No, they didn't. They had a do-it-yourself wedding, which means that they did not pay people to help. That's what do-it-yourself means. It means doing it without paying other people to help. Why did they have a do-it-yourself wedding? Well, they had a do-it-yourself wedding because they did not have a lot of money. Freddie and Sarah cooked all of the food. Did Freddie and Sarah cook all of the food? Yes, they did. They cooked all of the food. What did Freddie and Sarah do? Did they cut the grass or cook all of the food? Cooked all of the food. They cooked all of the food. Who cooked all of the food? Did Sarah's mother or Freddie and Sarah cook all of the food? Freddie and Sarah did. Freddie and Sarah cooked all of the food. Did Freddie and Sarah cook some of the food? No, they didn't cook just some of the food. They cooked all of the food. Did Freddie and Sarah hire someone to cook the food? No, they didn't. They had a do-it-yourself wedding. They ended up cooking all of the food. And Sarah's mother made the wedding dress. Did Sarah's mother make the wedding dress? Yes, she did. Sarah's mother made the wedding dress. What did Sarah's mother do? She made the wedding dress. Did Sarah's mother clean the house or make the wedding dress? Make the wedding dress. She made the wedding dress. Did she clean the house? No, she didn't clean the house. Did she make the wedding dress? Yes, she did. She made the wedding dress. Who did Sarah's mother make a wedding dress for? Did she make a dress for Freddie or for Sarah? She made it for Sarah. She definitely didn't make it for Freddie. Freddie's not going to wear a dress to the wedding. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it. Was it a lot of work? Yes, it was. It was a lot of work. How much work was it? Was it just a little or a lot of work? A lot of work. It was a lot of work. Was it worth it? Yes, it was. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it. Were they glad to have done it? Yes. Yes, they were. It was worth it, which means that they were glad to have done it. If you say something was worth it, then you're saying that you were glad that you did it. Were Freddie and Sarah glad to have cooked the food? Yes, they were. It was worth it. So they were glad to have done it. They were glad to have cooked the food. Was Sarah's mother glad to have made the wedding dress? Yes, she was. It was worth it. It was worth it to make the wedding dress. So she was glad to have made the wedding dress. Freddie and Sarah got married at the beach. Did Freddie and Sarah get married at the beach? Yes, they did. Freddie and Sarah got married at the beach. What did Freddie and Sarah do? Did they swim at the beach or get married at the beach? They got married at the beach. Freddie and Sarah got married at the beach. Did Sarah and Freddie swim at the beach? No, they didn't swim at the beach. They were probably all dressed up. Sarah was dressed up in a dress. Freddie probably had nice clothes on also, so they did not swim while they were at the beach. Who got married at the beach? Did Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt get married at the beach? No. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie didn't get married at the beach. Did Sarah and Freddie get married at the beach? Yes, that's correct. They got married at the beach. Sarah and Freddie got married at the beach. Where did Freddie and Sarah get married? At the beach. They got married at the beach. Did Freddie and Sarah get married at the church? No, they didn't get married at the church. Did Freddie and Sarah get married at the beach? Yes, that's correct. Freddie and Sarah got married at the beach. They were worried it was going to rain, but the weather cooperated. Were they worried it was going to rain? Yes, they were. They were worried it was going to rain. What were they worried about? Well, they were worried about rain. They were worried it was going to rain. Were they worried about the weather or the football game? The weather. They were worried about the weather. They were worried it was going to rain. Who was worried? Were Sarah's parents worried? No, not Sarah's parents. Were Freddie and Sarah worried? Yes, they were. Freddie and Sarah were worried. Were Freddie and Sarah worried it was going to rain? Yes, they were. They were worried it was going to rain. Did the weather cooperate? Yes, it did. The weather cooperated. Was the weather nice? Well, yes, it was. The weather cooperated, which means that the weather was nice. Did it rain? No, it did not rain. The weather cooperated, which means that it was nice, which means it did not rain. After they got married, Sarah's father was happy. Was Sarah's father happy after they got married? Yes, he was. He was happy. Was Sarah's father upset after they got married? No, he wasn't upset. He was happy. Who got married? Did Sarah and Freddie get married? Yes, that's correct. Sarah and Freddie got married. Was Sarah's father happy after Sarah's brother got married? No, Sarah's brother didn't get married. When was Sarah's father happy? Was he happy after he ate dinner? No, not after he ate dinner. Was Sarah's father happy after Sarah and Freddie got married? Yes, that's correct. After they got married, Sarah's father was happy. Because Freddie had made an honest woman of her. Had Freddie made an honest woman of her? Yes, he had. Freddie had made an honest woman of her. What did Freddie do? Did he make her a hamburger or make an honest woman of her? He made an honest woman of her. Who did he make an honest woman of? Sarah's mom? No, not Sarah's mom. Sarah's mom is married to Sarah's dad. Did he make an honest woman of Sarah? Yes, he did. He made an honest woman of Sarah. Did he get married to Sarah? Yes, he did. He made an honest woman of Sarah, which is the same thing as saying he got married to Sarah. When you make an honest woman of someone, that means that you get married to that woman. Why was Sarah's father happy? Was he happy because he liked the food? No, that's not why he was happy. Was he happy because Freddie made an honest woman of Sarah? Yes, that's correct. That's why he was happy. He was happy because Freddie made an honest woman of Sarah. Was he happy because Freddie got married to Sarah? Yes, he was. Freddie made an honest woman of Sarah, which means Freddie got married to Sarah. So he was happy because Freddie got married to Sarah, or you could say he was happy because Freddie made an honest woman of Sarah. Okay, we have reached the end of our story. Now, it's time for you to tell the story all by yourself. Remember, you do not have to memorize every word in the story, but you do need to use the idioms and vocabulary words that we used. Here are some of the ones that we discussed. Old-fashioned, made it in, pretty much, didn't make it, do it yourself, it was worth it, the weather cooperated, and made an honest woman of her. So please try to tell the story on your own using these idioms now. Remember, you can listen to this lesson as many times as you need to. Okay, good luck, and we'll see you next time.
Hi, this is Kristen Dodds.
And this is Joe Weiss. And we just wanted to let you know that this material has been copyrighted in the year 2008 by Learn Real English, LLC. www.learnrealenglish.com. Hi, welcome to the Point of View stories for The Weding. Today we're going to hear the same story from the Weding mini-story lesson, and we're going to hear it in 4 different points of view this time. Okay, let's get started. Freddie the Fork and Sarah the Spoon live together in New York. Freddie and Sarah are getting married. Pretty much all of Sarah's friends come to the wedding, but her Aunt Patty doesn't make it. 2 days before the wedding, Sarah's mother and father fly to New York from London. Their flight makes it in on time. Sarah's father is old-fashioned. He doesn't want Sarah to live with Freddie before they get married. Freddie and Sarah do not have a lot of money, so they have a do-it-yourself wedding. Freddie and Sarah cook all of the food, and Sarah's mother makes the wedding dress. It is a lot of work, but it is worth it. Freddie and Sarah get married at the beach. They are worried it is going to rain, but the weather cooperates. After they get married, Sarah's father is happy because Freddie has made an honest woman of her. Okay, so as you can see, we just heard the story told as if it is happening right now, or in the present, as we say. Now let's tell the story as if it has already happened 2 years ago. Okay, here we go. 2 years ago, Freddie the Fork and Sarah the Spoon lived together in New York. Freddie and Sarah got married. Pretty much all of Sarah's friends came to the wedding, but her Aunt Patty didn't make it. 2 days before the wedding, Sarah's mother and father flew to New York from London. Their flight made it in on time. Sarah's father was old-fashioned. He did not want Sarah to live with Freddie before they got married. Freddie and Sarah did not have a lot of money, so they had a do-it-yourself wedding. Freddie and Sarah cooked all of the food, and Sarah's mom made the wedding dress. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it. Freddie and Sarah got married at the beach. They were worried it was going to rain, but the weather cooperated. After they got married, Sarah's father was happy because Freddie had made an honest woman of her. Okay, so we just heard the story told as if it happened 2 years ago. Now we're going to tell the story as if it is happening in the future. So we will think of the story 2 years from now. Here we go. 2 years from now, Freddie the Fork and Sarah the Spoon will live together in New York. Freddie and Sarah will get married. Pretty much all of Sarah's friends will come to the wedding, but her Aunt Patty will not make it. 2 days before the wedding, Sarah's mother and father are gonna fly to New York from London. Their flight will make it in on time. Sarah's father is going to be old-fashioned. He will not want Sarah to live with Freddie before they get married. Freddie and Sarah will not have a lot of money, so they'll have a do-it-yourself wedding. Freddie and Sarah are going to cook all of the food, and Sarah's mother is going to make the wedding dress. It's going to be a lot of work, but it will be worth it. Freddie and Sarah are going to get married at the beach. They'll worry it is going to rain, but the weather will cooperate. After getting married, Sarah's father is going to be happy because Freddie will have made an honest woman of her. Okay, so that's the end of this version of the story, the version in which the story is in the future. Notice that instead of saying something like, they will worry, we can shorten it by saying, they'll worry. This is more like what we would say in spoken conversation. But in a textbook, you're more likely to see they will instead of they'll. You also probably notice that sometimes instead of saying going to, We might say gonna, which is more like spoken English as well. Alright, let's hear the story from Sarah's point of view now. So this will be the story as it would be told if Sarah was actually telling it. Here we go. Freddie the Fork and I live in New York. Freddie and I got married. Pretty much all of my friends came to the wedding, but my Aunt Patty didn't make it. 2 days before the wedding, my mother and father flew to New York from London. Their flight made it in on time. My father was old-fashioned. He did not want me to live with Freddie before we got married. Freddie and I did not have a lot of money, so we had a do-it-yourself wedding. Freddie and I cooked all of the food, and my mother made the wedding dress. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it. Freddie and I got married at the beach. We were worried it was going to rain, but the weather cooperated. After we got married, my father was happy because Freddie had made an honest woman of me. Alright, so that is the end of the point of view stories for the lesson, The Wedding. Now it's time to listen to each version again. After you listen to one version, then try to tell the story yourself. If you can't, it's okay. Just relax, go back, listen to it again, and then see if you can tell the story. You can listen to it as many times as you need to until you feel comfortable. Just relax, take your time, and learn the stories deeply. Okay, that's all for now. See you next time.
Hi, this is Kristen Dodds.
And this is Joe Weiss. And we just wanted to let you know that this material has been copyrighted in the year 2009 by Learn Real English, LLC. www.learnrealenglish.com.
Hi, and welcome to the vocabulary lesson for the conversation, The Wedding. In this conversation, Joe is speaking with one of our friends named Will. They're speaking about Will's wedding. Okay, let's begin with the conversation. Joe first says, "Hey Will, how's it going?" How's it going? Or how's it going? This is short for how is it going. So you wouldn't see how's it going in written English, but you would definitely hear how's it going in conversational English. It also means how are you? Will says, "Hey, what's going on?" What's going on? This is short for what is going on, and that's what you would see in written English. But in conversational English, you would hear what's going on. It also means, what are you doing? Then Will says, "Not a lot." Now this is kind of funny because this would have been an answer that Joe would have given to Will. When Will said, hey Joe, what's going on? And then Will says, "Not a lot." So really, that would have been an answer Joe would have said, "Not a lot." But for some reason, I don't really know why, Will says, "Not a lot." Okay, moving along. Then Joe says, "Man, you know what? Now that I see you right here, or now that I see you here, I don't think I've seen you in about 6 weeks. Will says, "Yeah," just agreeing with Joe. And Joe says, "Where you been hiding?" Now, where you been hiding? The way that you would see this in written English would be, where have you been hiding? But Joe just speaking normal conversation, he's making it shorter. Where you been hiding? And what this means is it's not really asking Will if he's been hiding from Joe, but it's saying, or Joe is saying this like, I haven't seen you in a long time. So if someone says, where have you been hiding? They're just saying it when they haven't seen that person in a long time. Where you been hiding? For example, I had not seen my friend Susan in a long time. So when I saw her, I said, hey, where you been hiding? And then Will answers, I don't know. Long time no see, though. Long time no see. This means it has been a long time since we have seen each other. For example, I had not seen my friend Susan in a long time. So when I saw her, I said, long time no see. Joe laughs and says, yeah. And then Will says, how have you been? So he's saying, how have you been doing? How is everything? And Joe says, yeah, I'm doing really well. Doing, just being short for doing. Joe says, I don't think, you know what? I haven't seen you since your wedding. Now, a wedding, this is a marriage ceremony, or it's when two people get married. And Will says, I know, I want to tell you all about it. I can't believe you didn't make it. You didn't make it. What Will is saying here is you were not able to be there. I can't believe you were not able to be there. You didn't make it. An example of this would be, it's too bad you didn't make it to my party. We all had a lot of fun. You didn't make it. And Joe says, yeah, you know what? I told you the only reason I didn't make it is because my uncle was getting married back east. What Joe's talking about here, back east, is the eastern side of America. So he has family that lives on the eastern side of America. That's where his uncle was getting married, in a state on the eastern side. And Joe goes on to say, so, you know, I was gone the entire week. Or he's saying, I was gone the whole week, all of the week. And then Joe says, but I was super bummed about it. Super bummed. This means to be very upset. So Joe's saying he was super bummed, or he was very upset to not make it to Will's wedding. Super bummed. For example, I was super bummed to miss your party. I wish I could have gone. Super bummed. And then Will says, well, you missed a good one. So a good one, he's talking about his wedding. You missed a good wedding. You missed a good one. And Joe says, yeah, I know. I mean, or Joe's saying, what I'm trying to say is, I was bummed that I couldn't be there with all our friends. And you know, I'd never had a chance, or I'd never had an opportunity to meet Isabel's family. So, you know, I'm really bummed that I missed that too. Isabel, this is Will's wife. And Will says, yeah, it was really nice having everybody out here from Spain. When he says out here, he's talking about in San Francisco. So Isabel, his wife, is from Spain. Her family, or some of her family, came from Spain to San Francisco for the wedding. Joe says, yeah. So he's just agreeing with Will. Yeah being slang or casual or informal for yes. And then Will says, and we had a good time. And Joe says, how long were you and Isabel together, or dating is what that means, before you guys got married? Now guys, a lot of times it means men or boys, but it can also mean a mix of men and women or boys and girls. So what guys means here, what Joe is saying, how long had you and Isabel been dating or been together before you guys got married? He's saying before you both got married. And Will says 2 years. And then Joe says, wow, oh my God. Like, I don't believe it. Time flies. Time flies. This means to be surprised about how much time has gone by. An example of time flies would be time flies when you are having fun. Time flies. And then Will says, yeah, just agreeing with Joe. And Joe says, I remember that, when she first answered the ad you had for a roommate. So what Joe is talking about here is, I remember, Will, when you put an advertisement in the newspaper needing a roommate or needing someone to live with you to help pay the rent. I remember when you put this advertisement in the newspaper and then Isabel saw the advertisement and called you. And then Will just laughs. And Joe says, you guys broke the golden rule. So what he's saying is you both broke or you ignored or didn't pay attention to the golden rule. Golden rule, this means the most important thing about something. The golden rule. An example of golden rule would be, Joe believes that the golden rule of life is to treat people as you would like them to treat you. The golden rule. And then Joe goes on to say, as far as roommates go, which is don't sleep with your roommates when they move in. Sleep with. This means to have sex with. Sleep with. So he's saying you broke this rule that you're not supposed to have sex with your roommate or roommates when they move in. And Will says, that's right. And Joe just laughs and says, but it's all worked out. It's all worked out. This means it ended well. It's all worked out. For example, even though I lost my job, it all worked out because I found another job. It's all worked out. And Will says, it was worth it. It was worth it this time. It was worth it. What Will is saying is he's glad to have done something. Or you say this in general when you are glad to have done something. It was worth it. For example, I did not enjoy going to school when I was younger, but it was worth it in the end because I learned a lot. It was worth it. And then Joe says, yeah, it's all worked out. So I'm glad or I'm happy to see that, And Will says, absolutely. What he's saying here is definitely or for sure. He's agreeing with Joe. And Joe says, yeah. So, you'll have to give me some details on, or what Joe's saying is you'll have to tell me about. I haven't seen any of the pictures or anything. Maybe you didn't get them back yet from the photographer. A photographer is a person who takes pictures. And Will says, well, I can't wait to, or what he's saying is, I would like to show you the pictures. Of course. But, yeah, do you have a second? So Will is asking, do you have some time? Do you have a second? And then Will says, I'll tell you about the wedding. And Joe says, yeah, totally. And what Joe is saying here is, yes, sure, I do have time. And then Joe says, I want to hear about it. Or I want to. Wanna is short for want to. And then Will says, all right, or okay. Well, we had kind of a do-it-yourself wedding. Do it yourself. This means doing something without paying others to help. So Will and Isabel did everything or most of the things themselves for the wedding, probably to save money. For example, they had a do-it-yourself dinner party. They cooked all of the food themselves. Do it yourself. And then Will goes on to say, we got married at City Hall, which was easy. Now, City Hall, this is a government building. And then Will goes on to say, and then we had our real ceremony or our real wedding at Stern Grove. Stern Grove is a place in San Francisco that has a lot of trees. It's really pretty there. So he's saying that's where the real wedding was. The legal part or the government part was at City Hall, the government building. But the real ceremony, the real wedding with our friends and family was at Stern Grove. And then Will goes on to say, you know where that is? And Joe says, oh, yeah, right on 19th. So he's saying, oh, yes, it's on 19th Street. And Will says, here in San Francisco. And Joe says, yeah. And Will says, underneath the redwood trees. So there are a lot of redwood trees in Stern Grove. Redwood trees are actually, they're a reddish color and they can get really big. So at this place, Stern Grove, there's a lot of these really big red-looking trees. He's saying, yeah, we got married underneath these redwood trees, under the redwood trees. And Joe says, oh, it must have been beautiful. And Will says, it was very nice. And then Joe says, did the weather cooperate? So what Joe is asking here is was the weather nice? An example of did the weather cooperate would be, we hoped that the weather would cooperate for the party we planned to have in the park. We did not want it to rain. Did the weather cooperate? Or in this example, hoped that the weather would cooperate. And then Will says, actually, we had a really beautiful day, which is very unusual. Or he's saying it's not common or not normal for summertime in San Francisco. And Joe says, yeah, just agreeing with him. And Will says, as you well know. So Will is saying, as you already know the weather is not good normally in the summertime in San Francisco. And Joe says, totally. So what Joe is saying is, yeah, I know what you're saying. I agree with you. And then Will says, we were planning on fog. Fog is just low clouds. San Francisco has a lot of fog in the summer, as well as other times of the year, which can make the weather cool or a little cold. So Will says, we were planning on fog, but we had really nice weather. Joe says, oh, that's great. So everyone made it in okay? Made it in. What Joe is saying is everyone arrived okay? An example would be, my parents' flight made it in late. Made it in. Joe says, because I know that her family had a long way to come. Remember, her family was coming from Spain. And Will says, yeah, they all made it. Her mom and dad, their friend, her brother and sister, of course, and her best friend from Spain came to represent all her friends. Represent, what Will is saying here is that Isabel's best friend came from Spain, and since her other friends could not come, the best friend was coming for all of them. She was coming in their place. She was coming for all of the friends. And then Will goes on to say, we're gonna go there. Gonna being short for going to. We're gonna go there soon, and we're gonna see her family and friends. You know, who couldn't make it. But it was nice to have a group of her family and friends here in San Francisco for the wedding. And Joe says, oh, that's great. Where is she from in Spain? And Will says, she's from Bilbao. And Joe says, oh yeah, you know, she told me that before, but I can't say that, you know, I could recall or I could remember the actual town because I'd never heard of it before. 'Cause is short for because. And then Will says, yeah, it's actually a very large city. It's an industrial city. Industrial meaning it has a lot of factories. And then Will says, and it's got a new museum. So it's become more famous or more well-known. And then Will says, but it's been there a long time. And it's a big city, but it's not one of the most known cities in Spain, perhaps. Or he's saying it's not one of the best known cities in Spain, maybe. And Joe says, yeah, agreeing with him. And then Will says, like Madrid and Barcelona. Madrid and Barcelona, these are cities in Spain that are more famous or more known than Bilbao. And then Joe says, yeah. And Will says, so, yeah. But they were all there, and her brother read a medieval Spanish love poem. Now, medieval, this is a time period from long ago. So he read a Spanish love poem from a time long ago. And then Will goes on to say, that was really nice. And parts of our wedding were in Spanish. For the people, you know, our friends here who speak Spanish. And also, you know, for her friends and family from Spain. Yeah. And then Joe says, sure. Yeah, that's great. I know that you've been trying to learn a lot of Spanish lately. Will says, yes, I have. Yes, I have. Well, you know, I learned a lot of Spanish when I was in Chile, but I'm learning a lot more with her now. And Joe says, oh, that's great. Yeah, because the only way you're gonna being short for going to, the only way you're gonna really, you know, get more fluent in it is to use it pretty much every day. So get more fluent. This is just being able to speak better or to speak more in a language. In this situation, Spanish. So get more fluent in it is to use it pretty much every day. Pretty much. Here, pretty just means very. Very much, or almost every day. For example, I go to the park pretty much every Saturday. Pretty much. And then Will says, absolutely. Yeah. And Joe says, so, I bet her father was happy to see that you made an honest woman of her. Made an honest woman of her. What Joe is saying here is, I'm sure her father was happy to see that you got married to her. Made an honest woman of her. An example of this. Sarah and Sam had been living together for 2 years before they got married. So her dad was glad that he finally made an honest woman of her. And then Will laughs and says, I guess so, yeah. And Joe says, I would imagine that maybe was her family pretty traditional? So Joe's saying, was her family very traditional and old-fashioned? Old-fashioned. This means ideas or things that are from a long time ago. Old-fashioned. For example, Kim's parents are old-fashioned. They think that a woman should not live with a man until she gets married. Old-fashioned. Traditional also is basically the same as old-fashioned. Ideas or things from a long time ago. And then Will says, no, actually, they're more progressive in a way. Progressive means able to change thoughts or ideas. So Will's saying, yeah, they're more progressive in a way than Americans are. Americans actually, it seems, are more into the church wedding and everything. Into the church wedding. What Will is saying here is Americans want to have a wedding in a church. They want into the church wedding. And then Will goes on to say, we had a very European wedding. They're not as religious as people think. Americans are pretty religious. Or he's saying Americans are very religious. Religious just means strong beliefs in a religion such as Christianity. Christianity is a dominant, or it's probably the main religion in America. And then Joe says, that's true. So he's saying, you're correct. I agree with you. And then Will says, yes. So they loved everything we did. So when he says they loved, he's saying they really liked everything we did. And then Will says, it was a really good time. Yeah. And Joe says, that's great. And Will says, yeah. So I gotta run. Now, what Will is saying here is not really that he has to go and run somewhere. He's saying, I have to go. Or I need to go now. So, for example, I gotta run to the store to buy some bread. I need to go to the store to buy some bread. I gotta run. And then Joe says, okay, well, Will, let's get together for drinks sometime soon. Let's get together. Joe's saying, let's meet for drinks sometime soon. For example, Karen and I are going to get together for coffee tomorrow morning. Get together. And then Joe says, it's been too long. And Will says, sounds good. And then Joe says, all right. Or he's saying, okay, I'll talk to you soon. And then Will says, all right, ciao. Now, ciao, this is an Italian word for goodbye. Ciao. And then Joe says, bye. Okay, that's the end of the conversation. And it's the end of the vocabulary lesson for the conversation, the wedding. So, as always, make sure before you go on to the mini story that you have a basic understanding of the vocabulary. And then when you feel ready, listen to the mini story next. All right, take care. See you next time. Goodbye. Hi, this is Kristen Dodds.
And this is Joe Weiss. And we just wanted to let you know that this material has been copyrighted in the year 2008 by Learn Real English, LLC. www.learnrealenglish.com